Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions. Oh, this is heaven's holodeck here. Really. We're just learning to really, I'm just learning to really, when Jesus says something and you follow, wow. Just wow, look at the blessings he bestows upon us to be together in this, like the mightiest of the mighties. And I think I mentioned this, I've written up the instructions. He's like, download, boom, here are the instructions for so we're just going to proof those, send them out to all of you. It's like, and boy, direct, like, and it's just coming, it's the reflection of the mind, like the simplicity, and that everyone can have a dialogue. I'm starting to record these dialogues when we join so that he says, record those so that you don't even know, he says, how clearly you can hear them, because we're so used to trying to go sideways and not hear them, that he says, record those sessions if we join, and then you can look at those and see that you just won't, and plus we're so not wanting to talk to Jesus. So when we do talk to him, you're going to see how clear everybody's starting to talk to Jesus and have these one-on-one conversations with him, just like he promised, just like he promises, and to show where those denials are, like one-on-one. It's helpful when we join. It's really, really helpful until we get our training wheels going on this, hearing him directly. And because it does take focus. It takes us light training to stay as the light, because again, the pizza truck delivery kind of thing, the ice cream truck song singing, and you want to run outside. We're all laughing because we know we'd rather catch the pizza truck than listen to the voice for God. So, but it is truly coming to pass exactly as he said. I was typing an email because he said, we're going to extend this out to all the course teachers. I don't know. I just follow. If he says do something, I'm going to do it. And how easy this is, and how simple it is just to look at desires with him, look at the light, and how we can all speak like Helen. That's what he keeps saying. You can all speak like Helen. Listen to me, because this is your voice. This is your voice, not as a personal voice, the voice for God that speaks within all of us. And it's just gorgeous. I just love it. As I've said, just hearing, you will too, sitting and joining with your brother and letting you both just listen to him and hear it come through, and hear him just like pointing out, no, you need to look at this. No, look at this. This is this right here. This is what you need to see. That is really handy. And it builds that trust, like, see, with him, that he's not here. He's not the enemy that the ego, through our desire to deny our own divinity, there's so much fear. He knows there's a lot of fear around him because that's the ego's plan. We also know we're divine light, and that we can see through these fears so quickly and so easily when they arise. Just talk up. That's it. And boy, he's like, ask me which miracles, constantly be asking me which miracles, which miracles, which miracles, which miracles. Is this time for a miracle? What the miracle is. See, because we want to plan on what our miracles. We think miracles are going to be turning water into wine. Only if he tells you to do it. I can't say that he wouldn't, because we're divine infinite beings, and he told me specifically we can do absolutely everything that he did, but he did it in purpose. You see, he never stepped out of purpose. And I mean, I know I was asking him, he said, you can ask me any questions you want, and you're going to see that too, actually, as you start. Not as a party trick, but for you. It's not a party trick to talk to Jesus. It's like to really learn our function. Our function is to let that divine voice move through. See, our voice, because we've stuffed our own voice down. So he's given us the means, listen, speak. And so I was asking him about Gethsemane. Because he had told me at one point, you know, he had already dropped. You can't have pain, and we know this from a course. We can ask the light of infinite being, does the light feel pain? So once all the desire to experience pain are washed out, you don't feel pain. I mean, it's not possible. Ask the light. You know, but the ego takes the story and go, the passion of Christ, the suffering of Christ. Does the light suffer? The whole point this was the show, you can transcend all pain and suffering. It wasn't for God's son, we know that story, to go up on a cross and die for our sins. He died to show that our sins are untrue, that the belief in sin is what causes pain. See, he had no belief in sin anymore. And again, as I've expressed before, he's saying, look, when you listen to me and you really get good, your ear trained, I will be able to tell you every piece of text about everything. So I go ahead. I'm going to ask him, of course, I'm going to ask him about Gethsemane, right? Because there's that statement, but you already know, we already know this is true. Someone said, it writes in the Bible, let this cup pass from me. You know what he said about that? He said, that is a death wish. Do you see? That's a death wish to say, let the cup pass from me. It's like, right, it is, because it's to deny the Father's will, to deny that there was a cup to pass. That makes it real. See, that's a death wish, is to make it real. Divine light doesn't make anything real. If he's going to be the model of divine light, he's not going to be making this adventure real in any way, shape, or form. And so I was asking him about, I'm asking if I can talk about it. He was asking him about, like, the symbol. These are all symbols in our minds. And so he uses those to be helpful. I was asking him, okay, what about the apostles? And I already knew the answers, falling asleep. Because that's what we want to do. We want to take a snooze on our purpose. Rather than be in communion with our Lord. See, it's just a symbol of wanting to check out of divinity. So he'll answer any questions at the appropriate time. Sometimes he'll tell you, no, that's not, because you can get distracted in these things. Like the ego wants to get distracted and wants to tell a story about things. He only uses everything in purpose. In fact, like, and we're finding that too. He'll tell you when you're not ready for a miracle. He'll let you know right away. And well, you can ask him, am I ready? No. He'll tell you no, because he knows that underneath there somewhere, you're still hanging on to something. And if you really want to have a conversation with them, you ask them, see, am I ready for a miracle? Can I have a miracle? Of course, you can always have a miracle. It's just that you're not going to accept it. He knows it's going to be like try to do a little miracle bypass. And we're here to talk to him specifically about where the denials are. That's how direct he is. It's like, and here's what's so great. We were really, I mean, I'm so, it's so honored to be around all these beings that are so willing to look at, to be the last one on earth that Jesus is going to talk to. We have to look at the desire. Serious. Really, it's funny now, but it's not funny when you feel. It's like, well, he's going to talk to everybody but me. I'm so grateful, because until we see that belief with each other, God, I love my brother so much. Until we really look deeply at the desired experience, see, that's the holdout. I'm going to hold out because I'm going to be the last one. But look how that pattern repeats in consciousness over and over. The last one to get picked on the schoolyard. You see how that works? We're all laughing because we know. Let's just ask Jesus, is that true that we cannot hear the voice for God and that we're the last person on the schoolyard who can hear that voice? He wants to take that desire out right away. Let's ask him, okay? Jesus, is there any desire to be to have an experience where I can't hear your voice? I'm going to pretend like I can't hear your voice and just ask him. Go ahead, honesty of God. It's okay to say yes. See, at least we're admitting it. What do I need to see? This is how about not hearing your voice, and just listen, stay with the light. Just say, okay, Jesus, what do I need to see about not wanting to hear your voice? That you don't want to hear it. Admit that you don't want to hear it. That's what he says. And just really be with that admission. Like, I don't want to hear you at all, any way, shape, or form, sideways. Just really be with the admission, and then let that admission that you don't want to hear just rise up, the denial rise up. And then ask them when it's time for a miracle, or is there anything else you need to see? We need to see, because it's us, totality. So if I said before, everyone's called here, because you wouldn't be called to light circles unless you could hear them. And the clarity is like clear as a bell. It's like Helen. He says that, and I'm seeing the reflection, and in my mind, I'll accept it. As clear as a bell. And we all have that capability. All we have to want to do is start doing together in these joining sessions is practicing. Going up, asking him, letting him speak through us. Going up, asking him for the miracle, and I'll send out the instructions for that. So we really practice that, hearing the voice and letting the voice, because we don't ask Jesus, is there any desire not to have your voice move through me? If that's true, just admit it with him and ask for his help. This is where the humility comes in, the training wheels, to be the little children going, right, you're right, Jesus, yep. Once again, for the 100,000th time, as I said. Jesus, is there anything else we need to look at around not wanting to hear you? Clear as... Yeah, he's saying mind wandering is not wanting to hear my voice. Jesus, is there any desire for mind wandering not to hear your voice? Okay, I'm willing to see it. See, the ego makes hearing his voice mean all kinds of things. That's what we do, or little reasons why we can't, which is reasons why we won't speak to the voice of God. So we actually need the voice for God's help to tell us where we don't want to speak to the voice for God. Now, how about that conundrum? It's the fastest way. It's the fastest way out of suffering, to ask him, okay, Jesus, all right, I don't feel like I'm hearing your voice. He'll be direct. He's saying, I'm going to be really direct if you ask me. But I have several beings commenting, this is just like a regular conversation. Yes. We're talking to all voices inside our head all day. This just happens to be the right one. This just happens to be the right one to learn to listen to. You know, we're talking to voices. We think those voices are out there. They're all inside us. All the crowds of voices, crowds of thoughts, crowds of. We were laughing about that today, about how, you know, out there on that lake out there, it's always changing. Like these weeds come in. It's like just like huge 100-yard long, big swaths will move, you know, out there on the lake, and they come in, and we're laughing because none of us go out there and go, gee, look at all those weeds out there. And isn't it awful that the weeds are different today than they were yesterday? We don't jump into the weeds and try to hold them still. But that's what the ego does. That's how the ego plays with certain elements. It's going to pick certain elephants. It won't try and stop the clouds in the sky, but, you know, it's going to try to, whoa, 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 let's not look at that. It's so selective on what it chooses to try to hone in on. So we do need his help. It's like it becomes more and more apparent to me every day how much I need his help for the speed. So this is a really good topic today from chapter 20 that we're going into, which is part, I'm asking, yes. Speaking of Jesus and thoughts, why we can't hear him. You believe that what you think has value. You desire an experience that what you think has value, more value than the infinite nature of being and thoughts of God. It all comes together. So there are no mistakes. Okay, so we'll look at this one. Let's ask him about it. Jesus, is there a desire below my level of experience that what I think has value? It says yes. Right off the bat. Okay. All right. Can you help me look at that? Help us look at that. What do we need to see around this thinking? Yeah, he says, you like playing with thoughts. Thought tennis. To deny the light. Like ping pong with the thoughts and chess games, and move the thoughts around to the left, to the right, and getting involved. And you can hear that too with several beings, you know, talking to him and him giving the instructions. You know, it's like, what makes you believe you need to make all those thoughts real? It's like a whole new concept to look at them and see, wait a minute, I don't have to buy into those. Who wrote a book saying we even need to buy in on a single thought? Let's ask the divine light that. Is there a single thought in there? Like, I could see it was like taken for granted. I had to believe them. I had to hang on to them. I had to feel like I was stapled to them. Let's just ask. Let's just see. And is the light stapled to thoughts? Like it has to hold on to lot? I love that. Muji says, you're not a container for thought. Are we a container for thoughts? Is infinite being a container? And just see how exhausting that is. Whenever we're tired, I'm asking Jesus, yes, we're hanging on to thoughts. We're trying to fill a closet full of them, save them for a later day. What is light doing with thought? We're just checking in to see in the light of divine being, is the light of divine being doing a darn thing with thoughts? It's merely expressing thoughts of God so we can hear them and have a contrast between those and this beliefs that thoughts are important. So let's ask them, Jesus, do I desire an experience that what I think has more value than the infinite nature of being? Help me see that differently, that that's even possible. So much love in this one. experience here, and I feel like Jesus is saying, yes, well, you start to notice when you really notice these miracles. See, we'll just try to have a soup of miracles all day. I'm asking Jesus, yes. You know, we just kind of toss a miracle out. But a miracle is divine expression of love unleashed, accepted. So even when after a while, after you ask, you feel a little love rush because we're noticing our own divine power and accepting it. That we have, that there is another way of seeing. And you start to feel all the love, those miracles, or those unleashed miracles. All the unleashed miracles. More value than infinite nature of being and thoughts of God. Is there a desire for my thoughts to be more important, more value than thoughts of God? And if he says yes, just go, okay, show me the desire so you can really feel that itch, how much you really want thoughts over God's thoughts. And then ask him, is it possible? Can I have a change in perception? With the admission, he says it like greases the skids. The admission that I'm using thoughts to deny divinity. It's admitting the denial. Then you can go deeper with him. Jesus, can we look any deeper on this? If he says yes, then we say, okay, show me more. Show me more about where I'm using thoughts to deny thoughts of God. He's reminding me how much love there is in hearing that voice. He says he knows that there are there's the strong desire to deny that we can hear it and hear it clearly. That's why we're here to help each other in this. Because sometimes it's just easier to talk seemingly to a body and form. But he says, know this, you can speak to me directly one-on-one. My voice is your voice. Just ask me to keep showing you all the reasons you believe that makes it difficult for you to hear me. Just keep asking me. So we can clear that misunderstanding up first off as quickly as possible. Okay, you believe what you think is more valuable than thoughts of others. You desire an experience in which what you think has more value, feels like it has more value than the thoughts of others, and experience pride in this. Let's just ask the specialness of thinking our thoughts are more important. He says a real helpful thing here with this is to start listening to your brother more deeply. This whole desire here makes us be in thought wars with ourselves, trying to come up with a better thought. Do you see that? One-upmanship. I'm going to one-up my brother because I know more than he knows. I know because I played that. The I consciousness played that game. But you can see, let's look, Jesus, is there any happiness where we think our thoughts have more value than another's thoughts? See, we're supposed to be clueless by our thoughts, about our thoughts. Let's ask Jesus. In the light of divine being, are we to be clueless about our thoughts? See, when there's no formulary, working, I can remember that play in consciousness where I'd try to formulate thoughts. He's trying to break that habit of trying to make little thought things and just let the thoughts of God be given. So we're really practicing by listening to him, speaking his thoughts or writing his thoughts. That will help us tune in. See, and it's the same thing. You think your thoughts have more value than thoughts of others. That translate, you think your thoughts are more important. You desire an experience where your thoughts are more important than God's thoughts, than your true thoughts. We can ask them, is there any desire for that? Okay, I'm willing to have a miracle. See that differently. Am I ready for a miracle? He says, yes. You'll feel anxious all the time, he says. Because you're always trying to anticipate, see that next thought's going to be better. You can always be worried if your thoughts are better than other thoughts, if your thoughts are good enough. It's like a whole thought war. It's a hailstorm of thought. Pride is the desire for experience of unhappiness, specialness. You believe that the thoughts of others are more important than your thoughts. See the unworthiness. Someone can speak better than me. Someone can hear Jesus better than me. See the comparison and the way that the consciousness will play. You desire an experience where the thoughts of others feel more important than your thoughts. See, so we can feel not important, not worthy. And to feel deprived and limited by this feeling. That's why we have thoughts of God focus on from A Course in Miracles as the only thoughts. See how the thoughts of God from A Course in Miracles and the daily lessons, they're the great equalizer. See, they're pointing to the Son of God, the one, where all thoughts are thoughts of God, the only real thoughts. So we can see our brother as a thought of God. So we can see we're thought of God. So, and also notice how in consciousness it plays like that. It'll play, I mean, just think about it. Just feel how ripped this feels. Okay, so we can really feel this play of being ripped and wanting to be ripped. And that's been an expression of a number of beings, like, because they're going down with Jesus and he's showing us like where we're desiring this split. And you can start to be really aware of it, more aware of how we really want to be ripped, torn from the Father. So see, the play is like this. The play is sometimes your thoughts are better than others, sometimes worse, sometimes better. You know, there's no true equality. And then all the wars in the world fought over that. Thanks. We had a little program pop up here. Okay, so just feel how that the ripping and the tearing and that desired experience, sometimes better, sometimes worse. It's exhausting. It's like a constant state of exhaustion where if we look as the light of divine being, is the divine being ripped or torn or finding any thoughts? See, it sees everything in equanimity, everything the same. It's the only way we can be happy. Seeing it all as the same, as given to the Father, perfect, whole, and complete. We'll always feel lacking. Ask Jesus that. You can ask him, Jesus, if I keep this desire for experience, for my thoughts to be more than others, and they're sometimes more than mine, can you see ask him if you'll always feel like you're lacking. See how you'll always feel lacking. So it's an attempt to feel more than ourselves and less than ourselves. That's just exhausting. That's a rip right there. You believe, Hebrews, this is for me. I see how he puts all this in here. Okay. You desire an experience where the thoughts of others feel more important than your thoughts and to feel deprived and limited by this feeling. See the deprivation and lack. You believe more thoughts will solve this condition. Oh my gosh, that was so true. Let me see if there's anything, anything less, any other desire for more thoughts to try to solve that problem. See, it becomes a, is there a desire for that experience? Oh. You believe more thoughts will solve this condition where the solution can never be found in thought. See, oh my gosh, how many stories have we tell ourselves, and the stories get bigger and better. Do you know, they don't go down over time unless we use forgiveness, right? You notice they would grow like mushrooms. Last for days, months. I think we've probably transcended that at this point, but it's helpful to see. You believe more thoughts will solve this condition where the solution can never be found in thought. The only solution is ceasing to deny true identity. Is the only solution to too many exhausting thoughts, ceasing to deny true identity through miracles. Just talking about thought gets exhausting. It's not natural to us. That's why he's giving us his thoughts, the Energizer Bunny thoughts. As he says, miracles are energizing. We'll be energized speaking God's words. How wonderful is that? Okay, we'll see. We'll do, you believe that what is destructible is real and that it justifies anger. Just notice how you feel even in that sentence. We can just start to notice. Thus, you desire an experience where you perceive what is destructible is real. Is there a desire to perceive what is destructible is real? Okay, we admit it. Is there anything else you want me to see around destructible is real? And that anger can be justified to protect the sense of personal identity. So, and we've talked about this before. So we want to, there goes a world, and then perceive it is being destroyed. We want to perceive something as being destroyed. And then you notice how mad you get when we think something's being destroyed and have anger over it. The anger, again, as he's pointing out, is way up here. It's the cover over. The emotions are the cover over for the desire to miscreate an experience where what is destructible is real. And then justify it, kind of hide under it with anger. Can we have a miracle on that desire? Will we be a lot happier without that? That's the divine light. Oh, it's a heavy one. We're coming around to, you believe anger is justified. This is such a good one to look at because it's such a deep belief, even from spiritual teachers teach that anger is justified. It's okay. It just comes and then it goes away. I'm asking, let's just be clear. Let's ask Jesus. In the light of divine being and honesty of God, because we can all hear the answer, is anger justified? And hear what the light says. See, anger in any form is an attempt to deny light. It's a cover over for a desired experience. That means there's something below our level of awareness to look for that we're trying to deny, to look at with him. It's a cover over. So it's not to suppress anger or suppress any emotion. It's just look quickly with me in a moment of light to see what's hiding under there. What are we hiding from ourselves? You believe anger is justified. You desire an experience of feeling anger is justified. Let's ask them, Jesus, do we desire an experience of feeling anger is justified? And if so, we ask for a miracle, or we just talk to him about it. Just have a little conversation. Go, okay, I see it. I see I really want it. Will you teach me about it? See, then he'll teach you. He'll just talk to you about it. And what do I need to see around this anger? And you can have that kind of conversation at that level. I'm hearing them. Yep. That level of specificity, that level of simplicity. Okay, what do I need to see? Okay, you know, and he'll just go through the whole thing. And is there anything else, Jesus, I need to see around this? And he'll tell you. You believe anger is justified to prove that God has taken something from you. Let's ask Jesus, is that true? Am I using anger to prove that God has taken something from me? Is anger used? Just feel that. You can tell. Is anger used to prove God has taken? Yes. You know, we were talking today, I can't remember, let's see if I can. Like there being a slight twitch or, you know, a remnant or, you know, some small thing left. And Jesus comes out and says, those are boulders. Those are big. They're not little. There's no little upsets, as he said. And so we really want to be careful with him, even on the tiny upsets, to go to him. Because underneath it, see, if they're like icebergs, they're going to seem like little things that you go, oh, you know, that's a little nothing. No, it's not. Ask Jesus. And he'll show you the whole iceberg. That's the tip of the iceberg. He'll tell you. But it's just admitting it. It's not to be afraid that there's an iceberg under there. It's to be grateful that we have the divine light within us that can show us where the icebergs are, so that our whole life is not, we're not frozen. We're not frozen on a timeline, afraid to do anything, you know, because the boogeyman's going to get us. It's to set us free and melt those. He'll show you how to melt that iceberg gently back into divine being. That sounds like a good ride to take for all of us. Just melts. He'll just melt it away. You'll see it with these desires. It just starts melting. You believe anger is justified to prove that God has taken something from you, yet you use anger to deny that God has given you everything. Wow, let's just ask him, Jesus, is anger used? Do I have a desire to use anger to deny that God has given me everything? Just admit it. Any remnant of that, we go look, see. So much spaciousness as these are just cleared so easily. And then we ask for a miracle, kind of miracle and change in perception that it's of benefit. See, we believe that anger is salvation. Jesus, is there any belief below, any desire, belief below my level of awareness that anger is salvation? He says, yes. Okay. Be with them and admit it and just feel the itch to have anger. The itch for the experience of anger, to deny divinity and ask for a miracle. Can I have a change in perception on using anger? That there's any reason for anger? Because we notice in the light of divine being and honesty of God, does the light ever get angry? So again, we're not suppressing any emotions. There's no suppression. We're just going to the root. He's bringing the mind so quickly to the root of the denial. We want to be free. We want to see that we're already free. That we're honoring the voice within, which is to honor ourselves. That we can't hear this voice clearly as a bell. He says, clearly, you will hear my voice. You call to me. I will come. I will speak to you so clearly and so directly. Just like I'm speaking to you now, he's speaking to all of us right now, because every time we ask, does the divine light have a limit? And you look at the divine light, you go, no, there's no limit to that. That's the voice. Does the divine light know time? And it's an infinite light, no time in our direct experience? Can we find that in infinite light? No, that's the voice. Does the infinite light of being know change? That's the voice. The voice that knows we're infinite. That's all we'd be listening to. The voice that knows we're timeless and changeless being. And we all hear that voice. And the grace of God is that we have the help of each other to hear it. Amen. Blessings from San Juan Costa. Love you.